Today on Steelers Talk, I am going over the 2024 mock draft roundup. It's our first draft video for the 2024 draft season here on Steelers Talk, where we're going to be going over 5 publications that have put out NFL mock drafts over the last couple weeks or so and seeing who they have the Steelers targeting in the first round of the 2024 NFL draft. If you guys are ready for more draft content and want to see more of it right here on Steelers Talk, do me a favor right now, kick off today's video by clicking that thumbs up icon. The more likes we get on this video, the more it tells us that you guys want more Steelers draft content, draft targets, mock drafts, all that great stuff. If you guys are ready for that stuff, go ahead and click that thumbs up icon right now. So let's start with CBS, and this is definitely the most blockbuster type of move that they have across the board here, and it's to go up and trade up to number 11 overall to take a quarterback to presumably replace Kenny Pickett here, Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr., the Heisman finalist. This is what Ryan Wilson, their draft analyst there at CBS Sports, had to say about this projection. The Steelers' offense feels like it's coming from the 1850s, not even the 1950s. And what you get from Michael Penix Jr. is a guy who can throw the deep ball. And guess what Diontae Johnson and George Pickens like to do? Run deep. Penix is one of, if not the best, deep ball thrower in college football right now. Ryan Wilson really did a good job with this one, I think. I think Michael Penix, out of all the quarterbacks that are gettable for the Pittsburgh Steelers, is probably the best fit in my opinion. But there's definitely a downside to potentially drafting a quarterback here if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, okay? If you are of the opinion that the Steelers have a roster that's ready to win now, they have T.J. Watt in his prime, Alex Highsmith, Cam Hayward, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter Jr., Keanu Benton just getting started. And you also have guys on offense like Jaylen Warren, George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, Diontae Johnson. You can make a definite argument that this team's ready to win Super Bowls if they can just get the right offensive coordinator and the right quarterback. And if you draft a quarterback early, the chances of that rookie being a Super Bowl caliber quarterback in year one are extremely, extremely low. I don't even think a rookie quarterback has ever won a Super Bowl. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of drafting a quarterback this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that maybe you keep Pickett, bring in a veteran to compete with him, or you just straight up outright replace Pickett with like a Justin Fields or like a Baker Mayfield of some sort, right? Something along those lines, as opposed to drafting a quarterback that's going to take a couple of years to develop. So unless the Steelers are really embracing a rebuild, not really in favor of drafting a quarterback. But speaking of quarterbacks that the Steelers could potentially nab, which quarterback do you think is better? Which one would you rather have in the 2024 NFL Draft? Would you rather have Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington, type MP, or would you rather have the Heisman winner, Jayden Daniels, type JD, down there in the comment section? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. So another Husky being projected to the Steelers here. ESPN projects in their latest mock draft that Rome Odunze, wide receiver from the University of Washington, to join Diontae Johnson and George Pickens in Pittsburgh next season. This is what Matt Miller, one of their draft analysts there at ESPN, had to say about this one. Diontae Johnson's contract expires at the end of 2024, so there's room for Pittsburgh to add a physical, downfield threat with elite after-the-catch ability to the depth chart. Odunze has been the wide receiver one at Washington for 3 seasons, catching 25 touchdowns in that time while proving himself to be one of the most physical wideouts in college football. Miller finishes up here by saying the 6'3", 215-pound Odunze could pair with George Pickens to form a duo that would rival Cincinnati's wide receiver group in the AFC North. Now, I think that if you add Odunze here, one of the most dynamic receiving threats, probably one of the more complete wide receiver prospects we've seen come in the draft in a very long time. I mean, we got another one of those guys in Marvin Harrison Jr. in this draft as well. I think that would absolutely solidify the Steelers' wide receiver core as one of the best in football. But unless George Pickens and Diontae Johnson gets traded, I'm just not sure how much of a pressing need this is to go out and get a wide receiver in the first round. You probably have to get younger at corner. You probably have to go out and get more offensive linemen. You might even be drafting a quarterback if you don't believe in Kenny Pickett. So not sure if wide receiver is going to be on their list early. It's a very deep wide receiver draft, so you could maybe get a good slot guy in rounds 3, 4, somewhere in that range. but I'd probably rather go corner or offensive tackle in round 1 if I'm being completely honest. Now, the idea of having one of the best wide receiver trios in the National Football League definitely intrigues me, man. I wouldn't necessarily hate it. I'd be excited if they drafted Odunze. But right now, Patrick Peterson, Levi Wallace, those guys are getting old. Joey Porter Jr. is up and coming, but I think you want to pair him with another really good press man corner so you can, really impose your will on opposing offenses in the decades to come here in Pittsburgh. So coming up, we got more mock draft projections, my reactions to them. But first, I want to tell you about today's sponsor at Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. Prize Picks is fantastic because it's super addictive, but it's also super fun. If you're looking for a way to spice up your game days this NFL season, Prize Picks is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game. You might be asking yourselves, how does daily fantasy sports work? Well, here's how. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. So let's take a look at my entry for Week 16 here in the National Football League. I got the more on Terry McLaurin receiving yards, the more on Christian McCaffrey rush yards, and there's actually a new promotion on Prize Picks this week called Demons and Goblins, where the Demons are the ones that are a little bit harder to hit, but if you hit them, you get a higher payout. And then the Goblins are easier ones to hit, but you get a lower payout. This is an example of a demon here for Josh Allen, 2 touchdowns or passing touchdowns. I took the more on that. If I get that, I get an even bigger payout from our friends at Fanatics. If you know ball, you can make money with Prize Picks today. Check it out now at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. So now, Pro Football Focus here, Trevor Sikkema has the Steelers taking Nate Wiggins, the cornerback out of the University of Clemson. Now, I love this pick, and I'm also a little bit worried about this pick as well. I'll tell you why in just a second, but this is what Sikkema had to say about this projected draft pick. The Steelers' cornerback room outside of Joey Porter Jr. is aging fast. They need to continue to invest in that area. Wiggins' athleticism and build, 6'2", make him perhaps the stickiest cover cornerback in this class. He is on the slender side at 185 pounds, which does show up in strength situations, especially run defense, but it doesn't cause him to back down from physicality at the catch point. That, plus his fantastic recovery speed and ball skills, makes for a first-round player. So I would love to have Wiggins on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he's a really good cover corner, really good in man coverage. Now, Clemson usually runs man match coverages, not straight up press, but I think he has the length. I think that he has everything that you look for. Now, he does need to put on a little bit of muscle. I'm not saying that he doesn't, right? 185 pounds, you can tell on film that he gets bullied a little bit in run defense. It's not for a lack of trying. He's got a great motor. He just needs to put some weight on his bones. I know, coming from me, right? But anyway, you got Wiggins right now, great cover corner. He's got fantastic upside, and he'd be a really good corner to add, especially in the middle to later picks in the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft. Then Sports Illustrated also has the Steelers taking a corner. Not sure how I feel about this one. Kalen King, Penn State Nittany Lion cornerback, a little bit smaller than Nate Wiggins. He's at 5'11", but we'll get to that in just a second. Most people have King going in the second round, but Sports Illustrated has him going to the first here with Pittsburgh sticking in Pennsylvania. This is what Sports Illustrated had to say about drafting Kalen King. The Steelers already have one budding star corner from Happy Valley, so it wouldn't be surprising if they went back for another. King already has experience lining up across from Joey Porter Jr. and making life miserable for opposing quarterbacks, and this would allow them to reunite and do it again at the pro level. Now, King is a little bit shorter. Now, it's definitely not a disqualifying height by any stretch of the imagination for an outside corner, 5'11", 183 pounds, man. He's still on the lighter slide like Wiggins is. And, Kalen King right now is expected to be a second-round pick. So I would kind of be upset if they don't end up with a Kool-Aid McKinstry, if they don't end up with a Wiggins, right? If they don't end up with one of those top corners and they still end up drafting one, I'm not sure if I would like that pick, to be completely honest with you. I think Wiggins has higher upside. He's got more length. He's got a better size to him. And I think that he's got more number one upside. And if you can have 2 number 1 corners for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think Joey Porter Jr. is getting ready to really have a breakout season next year. I mean, you can make an argument he's having a breakout season this year. So if you can put together a really nice cornerback room with another great piece to go along with Corey Trice Jr. and Darius Rush, by the way, who are both under contract next year, I think this cornerback room can definitely go from a weakness to a strength very, very quickly. Now, let me know down there in the comments section, what's your take? What is the biggest team need for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024 that they need to address? Is it quarterback? Is it corner? Is it inside linebacker? Let me know down there in the comments section, what is the biggest team need for the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up in 2024? Then this is just, I don't even know what Walter Football is thinking with this potential draft pick here. Chop Robinson. And listen, I like Chop Robinson, all right? He's a very productive college player, very good pro prospect as well, out of Penn State. So obviously, like the school team kind of connection makes sense there. But, I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they don't need a freaking edge rusher. So I don't know why he's doing this. This is Walter Football's explanation of this pick. The Steelers were 8-2 with TJ Watt on the field last year, talking about 2022, but 1-6 without him. They need another pass rusher to make sure that doesn't happen again. Chop Robinson is a productive player, but has some size limitations. Now, you know, my question to Walter here is, have you never heard of Alex Highsmith? I mean, we just paid this guy a massive extension. He's actually had a pretty darn good season this year in terms of pressure, production. Alex Highsmith has been fine. He's a good run defender as well. Why do we need to go out in the first round of all places to go get another edge rusher? And by the way, we have Nick Herbig as a rotational edge rusher. Okay, it's not like the Pittsburgh Steelers have a dire need to fill the edge rusher position right now. And this is just a completely stupid pick here by Walter Football, in my opinion. They don't need a starting edge rusher. All right, they have TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith locked up for the long term. What are we doing here? I mean, does this guy have no idea about the Pittsburgh Steelers and their team? I mean, seriously. I mean, if he knew anything about the Pittsburgh Steelers, he would know that the Steelers have not one, not two, but three really effective pass rushers among their edge rusher ranks, and they need help at corner. They need help at inside linebacker. They need help along the offensive line. Depending on your opinion, quarterback as well. Using a first-round pick on Chop Robinson is absolutely out of the question, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Who do you want the Steelers to draft in round one of the 2024 NFL draft? Do you want to go get a receiver like Odunze? Do you want to go get a quarterback like Penix? Let me know down there in the comment section who you're eyeing in the 2024 NFL draft class. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Again, make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you want to see more draft coverage videos here for the Pittsburgh Steelers immediately, all right, because we can get these going. We can get the mock drafts going. We can get the draft targets going if you want, but you got to make sure you click that thumbs up icon, and then also make sure you click that subscribe button to never miss any of our draft content coming up here in the 2024 offseason.